All right, calling the meeting to order. First order of business is a review of the minutes. Let's start with June 30th. Did you have anything?
I have nothing. Did you?
Any motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 30th as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and July 12th. Do you have
I
anything?
had nothing.
Nothing on this side.
Fantastic. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 12th as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I will make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes of July 6th
Second.
as presented.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. Nice job on the minutes, Jan Leslie.
Great. All right, next thing on the agenda is a discussion regarding ladies' bathtub. And we had been presented with some of the issues there previously and wanted to continue that discussion. We are in receipt of, I believe this is from Cindy, this 4-page email with the pictures and signs and all of that. I don't know if you want to start with that or if you want to present something but we're here to listen and hopefully come to some agreement on how we can make this better for you guys and for the town.
Do you want me to start with the current situation?
Go right ahead.
Okay, we had a very good discussion with Butch and with Jeff Burnham and with Ron. And we came to some agreements. As you know, this has been historic. Managing the ladies' bath so that it serves the needs of the community, but also does not create unnecessary problems for the residential situation in which it sits. So, and going back through it, I went back through everything that was in the ladies' bath folder that you had here in town. And actually, I found a lot of discussion about the ladies' bath back in 1999 when they were trying to get an easement through Riverside for the Pemigewasset Trail. And the ladies' bath was specifically included in that discussion because there were issues even back as long as ago as then. And there were commitments made at that time with respect to traffic, parking, trash, site maintenance, all the same issues that we've experienced, that we continue to experience, ongoing with the bath. And there was an acceptance back there of that board of responsibility for the bath and actually taking care of the trash, helping to manage it, helping to make sure that the issues were the issues, I hate to say minimized, controlled, that we were all in agreement that things were working well for both of us. We again had a meeting in 2017. All of the same issues came up, Butch, and then I think it was Jeff again, Butch and Jeff and all the same issues came up, and we made certain agreements there, and we've been trying to follow them. Last year was particularly bad, as everyone knows. This year seems to be a little bit better, but then we haven't had great weather and it's been cold. But I think having some of the other venues open, like Clark's and the water park and, Whale's Tail, it has helped the bath out a little bit. But still, there do continue to be issues. So we did talk about it and we came to certain agreements with respect to signage. And we recommended a sign, but are you going to go with the sign, Butch, that we recommended?
So that's
Or,
what the discussion is tonight.
which specifically, because right now, what they did was just put up little no parking signs just around the circle. But you could have a single sign that says it all. and would be a little bit neater, but that's up to you, it's on your property. We did recommend a sign. We did also come to agreement with respect to, you were gonna take down the COVID signs, which were no longer applicable, but in their place, we were going to put no overnight parking so that we didn't have the campers or the possibility of campers that we had the year before. We were also going to post no fires because we had a problem with fires last year, them building, setting up charcoal hibachis and propane tanks to barbecue on the top of the knoll. They're starting that again. Last Saturday, we had hibachis and stuff up on the knoll cooking. And that's not good, because it's right in the middle of the woods, and, what do they do with their spent briquettes and stuff? We had agreed that we didn't want them cooking in there. So we definitely need improved signage that says no fires, no overnight parking. We're trying to deal with the parking, working with you, we're doing what we need to do. And we have agreements. So far, we have not had to tow, again, because the weather has not been, it's not been overcrowded at any point that we've had to do that. And we've also posted a couple of our areas where what's happened too is now that people are not just focused on the ladies' bath. They're starting to enter in other areas of riverfront to get river access. And it's, we enjoy the river, we want other people to also. And it's okay if you just want to access the river and go down and see it or whatever. But these are people that are setting up camp, at one point, one group actually bought a fire pit with them, That's what we don't want. So we're starting to put signage.
This year they're doing that, fire pits?
Yep, they brought a fire pit down, this wasn't at the bath, this was at another location at Riverfront. We have a building, if you go to the left instead of the right, you go down, there's a building 16, if you go down to the right of that, there's a really nice sandy beach.
But I don't know how that's relevant to ladies' bathtub, if it's a different part
I'm
of the
just saying,
property.
that wasn't my point. My
Oh,
point
okay.
was that we're starting to post other
Oh,
sections of
gotcha.
our
I missed that, I'm
property
sorry.
to
Okay.
say that it's private
Gotcha.
property, no river access, because
Gotcha.
we just don't want, this was right next to a building, and they're setting up camp down there.
No,
Not, they
I
weren't
gotcha.
camping,
I
but
just
setting up for.
I missed that, that's all.
Yeah, so we are posting, and we did have an agreement that where we had posted that we could call the police if there were issues. In that case, they're gonna bring a lot of equipment, they're probably not gonna have parking passes either, so we have two options, But, so we're trying to work on our end, but we really need your cooperation and with the signage and with, and helping us to keep this rolling and helping it to go smoothly, so that, again, it's a good experience for everyone, for visitors as well as the people that live there. One of the biggest problems we continue to have, and again, it was a problem, it's been a problem in every report, is trash. Our president went down just the other night, whole garbage bag full of trash, including glass beer bottles, which are not allowed down there. So we really need you to take responsibility for that. I think what we're saying is we need the town to take responsibility for the bath. If you want to have it, and our owners are not going to go down there. If one of those beer bottles breaks and someone gets injured down there, that's not on us, that's on you. You need to take care of the bath. And the trash was pretty bad down there. So, and that's been an issue in every one of these discussions that people have had with the town. In the 1991, in the 1999 discussion, they made it a responsibility of the Public Works Department to go down and make sure that the trash was cleaned. But trash and maintenance is very important, not just to Riverfront, but, to the town. I mean, that's gotta happen. Because Riverfront owners like to go down and sit at the bath too, but they don't like to have to get down there and sit in the midst of trash because and they don't want to be responsible for cleaning it all up. I think I've hit on everything. Is there anything else that you?
Yes.
So I think and you know, depending on where our discussions go, what we would be looking for and what they seemed to do back in 1999 and what might work for all of us is to just create a memorandum of understanding. That's what they did in 1999. You know, it's for a year, you know, if situations change, you renegotiate, but just have a memorandum of understanding so you know what our needs are and we know what your needs, you know, we know that we're all in agreement with who's responsible for what and how we can manage it appropriately. So that's basically where we're at.
In 1999, there was an MOA signed? by
There
both
wasn't
parties?
an
There
MOA
wasn't.
signed. Well, there was in essence, because there was an agreement. It was Bob Peralt, Board of Selectmen. It was a memorandum, but it wasn't titled
It
a
wasn't an
memorandum
MOA,
of
okay,
understanding.
okay, gotcha.
But it was definitely, it came from the town and
Gotcha.
and they listed all their
I just didn't remember
responsibilities.
seeing one, so I just was,
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm Brian Shaughnessy. I'm the vice president of the board. I've owned for several years. And the problem that we brought to Bush's attention the other day was really related to last year. We had an overflow. Everybody knows in town. We had an overflow for reasons.
Everybody in town had
Yeah, so,
overflow.
yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible.
So to get to your question of why is it relevant to what's going down there, from my perspective, it's relevant because we're in a different world today. If you Google Ladies Bath Lincoln, New Hampshire, you'll pull up a lot of information online
Yeah.
that says this is a public beach, okay? So my complaint would be that the town is running a public beach and making it open to the public, but you're not running it. There's no budget for it. You haven't paid for it. And I understand back in 1984, when this was coming up to the town residents didn't want to take it because they didn't want the liability. In 1994, you were going to get a gift from the Preservation Society. The town said, yes, we want to take it. But everything that I have read about the Ladies Bath from inception, and actually I have another board owner here today, and his wife grew up in Lincoln, and they have a place. My place and the president's place are right there. We overlook the bath. We're right there on the front lines. But his wife grew up here, and the last thing that the president of this association, me, his wife want to see is to close it off to the town members. What we've asked the board to do, and what I was taking Bush's temperature the other day, is we want to return it to the original intent. I've asked the town through Cindy, I need to see the subdivision meeting approval, okay? I am sure there were restrictions put on this subdivision that carved out the ladies' bath. What my tea leaves tell me is that the townspeople threw the Board of Selectmen back on a curve when they wouldn't accept title. So then you had to scramble and get the Preservation Society involved to take title to it. But by that time, we had already gotten easements to the bath. Our association is the Lincoln Station Property Owners Association. We have easements into the bath. Why were those necessary? Because the original intent was only town of Lincoln and Woodstock residents. What problem do we have today? If you go out and look at the full parking lot right now, there's 2 New Hampshire plates there. Those are not your residents. That is not the original intent of the ladies' bathtub. My sister-in-law was a pre-construction owner there. I've been coming up since this place was built. And we thought the sign meant what the sign meant. This was dedicated to the Preservation Society for the town of Lincoln and town of Woodstock owners. His wife, who grew up in Lincoln, swam in there, has cousins that still go there. The townspeople are telling her they won't come here anymore because it's overrun, not because it's a public place, but because it's advertised on public. Now, to Butch's point, how do you patrol that? We don't want to have a cop down there. We don't want to, have a lifeguard. We don't want to have somebody down there, and we're not asking for that. But if it is restricted to town residents, homeowners too. I wouldn't be a town resident. I just don't want a ski condo up here. I wouldn't be able to go to it except to have an easement to it, okay? But if you closed it off to somebody with a dump stick or some type of restriction, now it goes online. Now you're opening up those parking places to the townspeople, and we are managing the crowds. The crowds that we're having problems with are people coming mostly from out-of-state plates, setting up, the big tents, putting out the hibachis, bringing lots of people in their boom boxes. I came today to meet with Cindy earlier. They're right down there on the rocks, with the boom boxes. They have beers and cans of beers and whatnot, being loud. Okay, I get it. That's a public beach.
Can I just ask, when you saw that, the beers and the whatnot, and the boom boxes and the hibachis, did you notify the police station?
That was an hour ago.
Did you notify the police station?
No.
Because that would help. That would help in enforcing the no alcohol. That's something they can enforce,
They were coming up
you
They
know?
were coming up the side of the river to leave, but they came onto our
Oh, gotcha.
property and got caught by I actually
Gotcha.
walked over and I said, guys, there's a fence there, you have to go around. And then I see, there weren't really a problem to me at that point, but this is the problem we get on the weekends with the crowds.
Mhm.
So I was trying to take the temperature of this Board of Selectmen, saying, you have a problem, we have a problem, because your townspeople can't use it. How about we solve that problem by going back to the original? Now, how do we do that? I put out some legal things, and I'll be talking to your town attorney. You do not have an easement to get there. You just do not have an access easement. I can talk about prescriptive easements, I can talk about all that stuff, but what I'm talking about is we'll give you an easement. We'll cooperate with you, in exchange for, these types of controls. We don't want to own it. We really don't want to own it. Why do we want the liability? You've got 325,000 municipal cap under the statute. It's much easier for you to insure it and own it and to open it for your people. But if we continue to have problems with that, we can use our easement issue. You can't overuse your easement and burden our estate running a public beach in the middle of our complex and not funding it. So there are other ways we can enforce these things, but we don't want to enforce them. They came in 1999, asked for it. The board was very receptive, said, this is what we'll do. We'll do this, this, and that. A couple of years later, not doing it. Okay, this is what we'll do. We'll do this, this, and that. Now we're back to today. Is there a trash barrel out there? No. Why? I get it. COVID, everybody yanked their trash barrels, it's carry in, carry out. But we got to solve that problem. Maybe we can solve it for you. We have a dumpster. Maybe you can use our dumpster. Maybe we can just take the trash out. There's all kinds of ways we can solve the problem to make it less burdensome on our owners. Because right now we do have, I'm usually not up during the summer, but motorcycle weekend was kind of loud with all the people coming in. And one of the problems with,
Always.
yes, but they're coming in looking for the bath, but then they're going down to Penstock and they're coming down here and then they're going, oh, no parking spaces. Like, okay. But the reason they're going down to Penstock, I figured out, if you look online, they say ladies bath, you go in and it's by the tennis court by the circle. Well, we happen to have a circle down by Penstock.
Yeah, I wish
With
there was
the
a way
tennis
to get that all offline, but
Yeah.
none of us have any control over
Someone
that.
will be
Yeah, oh,
posted.
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if it was not open to the public, I could post it on, hey guys, that's not open to the public, that's only town residents. I could go over to Lincoln Station, stop sending your people over, they can't walk across our land. They come down our stairs, which are rickety. We're replacing them, but what happens if they fall down our stairs as they're coming from Pollard Park or the new 250 units across the street? They don't have an easement to walk across that property,
Lincoln Station has an easement,
the property owners
Right,
association. Right,
property owners.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Those were one development at one time.
Right, we were all
Both
one
of them.
development at one time, so.
So with all of that off my chest, we want to help find a solution. I think there's a lot of legal tools that Peter and I are going to talk about. We haven't even polled our owners. I know there's several owners over there that say, no, we just shut it off to everybody. But I'm telling you, that's not her, me, our
Not
president who's on the Zoom call. These people up here, many of the people want it open. They enjoy seeing the kids down there and enjoying it. They don't, we're New Hampshire people too. We don't want to shut it off to the rivers. We don't like the people who, buy the big beachfront properties and say, you can't be on my beach. That's not our attitude at all, but we just need to manage the problem. We want to get to a way we can legally enforce it as well.
And there was a call last Saturday, because it was so loud down there, that there was a call to the police. Donna did call.
Yeah, smoking pot.
Yeah, there were 2 calls.
That's another issue. I don't know if anybody has a good answer to this, but we do have people, we have a shoreline above, right below my building, 23, and we put the rods in there, and there's still people on those rocks. And again, I don't care if somebody's down there on the rock with their, that's not the issue, but they do creep up, and I don't know where the mean water mark is or wherever, because at some point they're up on our property, you can say, hey, get off those rocks. I'm not sure if the town knows where those marks are, or my reading is the DES has to say where it is if it's not, but that's usually lakes, not rivers. I'm kind of ignorant on this.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
It's usually the center point.
It's the
Highest mean water.
Yeah.
I mean, one.
the average.
Oh, gotcha,
Whatever that
that's
means.
just you're on the center means,
What's the
yeah.
average? Is that when it's in April and everything's running off, or is it when it usually
No,
is?
average, yeah.
So I don't know what that is. I may have to check the DES.
Somewhere between Irene and.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
No, every April.
In a month ago.
Irene and Sandy kind of.
Somewhere between Irene and a month ago. Yes,
Irene
yeah.
took them closer to your house, but you know.
Yeah.
And-
Chief, how do we solve it?
It's,
Oh, the other chief.
it really is
Yes,
an enforcement.
That's,
nightmare.
yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, unless we put it on the taxpayers to hire more full-time people to police it. I mean, I just don't know.
I guess I see a few different issues. I just want to lay them out to make sure that we're on them, and then maybe we can go through and discuss each one separately, because I mean, some of these issues have nothing to do with enforcement of the police.
Right.
So to ask
Right.
Chad how to solve the problem, he can only talk about one little section of this, but I see the signage as one request that you're asking for. To me, that's the easiest one. We can do that one first. The next issue is trash. That is a ongoing concern, and like you said, has been since
It's
99 or
yeah,
what,
probably before then.
20 plus years.
Let me stop you there.
Yeah,
You know, we've got a very active volunteer community here. Has anybody reached out to either the Boy Scouts or the Interact Club, the high school, to say, would you take this upon yourself like they do? Last week, they had a trash pickup on the King, and that was the roadie. The Boy Scouts might enjoy doing something, know that it's benefiting them and it's benefiting the townspeople. So, I mean, there's something to very possibly do. Again, I can't speak for it. I'm not involved in the scouting program here, but I know we have a scouting program here.
I
And we
think
have a very active Interact Club through the Rotary.
it just has to be done on a regular schedule.
Well, on a
Because I know there
weekend
are
or
some
something
groups
like
that will
this.
do, they do it as a special project, but this is something that has to be maintained. It
No,
has
I'm
to be
saying
done
on a weekly basis, not
Yeah.
every day, Cindy. I wouldn't
Yeah,
expect
not
it
every
to be
day,
done.
but it has to be done.
Well, again, that's just a
Yeah.
possibility. We get the baseball team or the ski team from Linwood High to do it, I think, right, Chief?
That falls on parents. That means that the parents of those, that ski team or baseball team or Interact kids, it always falls on the parents, which,
Yeah.
I mean, I did stuff like that forever with the kids, but you just put more on the parents of these poor kids when you ask them to do things like that.
so in addition to signage and trash, I see the other issues as, do we make this residents only, residents and taxpayers only, or public? And then I see the fourth real issue as patrol, as far as, what, do we do anything, or how do we patrol that? And I think the answer to the patrol is gonna be very dependent on who it's open for. I mean, patrolling a public beach and patrolling it for Lincoln Woodstock residents only are gonna be two different tasks. So I'm thinking that should come at the end, because we don't even know what we're talking about until we decide the other things.
If I may.
Yeah,
Again, you're saying Lincoln residents only, or Woodstock residents only. I've got 2 grandchildren up here now. Are we saying they can't come? They're guests, they're my guests. I'm a
Yeah, they're your
taxpayer.
guess.
Are we saying that, and if I want to drop them off, can I drop them off? I mean, they're 18 years old, 19 years old?
I think that's something we have to work out, but I tell you, the beaches along the coast run this way all the time, but with parking stickers, it's open to residents only. So I think they know pretty much what they're doing, right, Brian?
Yeah, I've been 22 years out in the Noble in Maine. I get a resident sticker. I'm not a year-round resident, but I get a sticker. That limits the amount of people who can park nearby, which then artificially limits the people who actually go there. You're not going to go with a bunch of kids and walk there. And to Mr. Robinson's point, precisely, you're going to have a different population of people being there if you limit it to anybody who can get a trash sticker. Now, I can get a trash sticker here because I pay taxes. Who's going to get a trash sticker to park there? Well, the residents have their trash sticker. So who's going to be parking it? The residents. Now, you can still keep it open to the public, that's your consideration, but again, it's the cost of that policing it. But if you closed it off to that community of people with a sticker or whatnot, it's a less problem with the policing of it. We know who's supposed to be there, and I'll tell you, they're probably gonna be more respectful than the people we have coming here. And what's the problem? Not only the Google, but we have an Airbnb problem, I know you know. I've been reading your minutes, and I understand what the problems are, but the people who come here for a couple nights a week on Airbnb are the people who are here to party, right? They're
Not
the ones.
necessarily. I mean, that's kind of stereotyping that families like mine that use Airbnb all the time and don't party with the kids. A little stereotypical.
Well, I'm being very
Not that they
stupid.
all-
Right next door to me in York, Maine is an Airbnb house amidst a bunch of other people who are year-round. My condo association now has people Airbnb, and the people who come in on the weekends for skiing are not as quiet and as respectful as our year-round residents. So that's the stereotype I'm using.
And not that they all party,
Right.
but typically the
Typically,
noise-making groups are not the locals. So not that all, some of them are, especially on July 4th.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say,
typically,
I'm not gonna throw out any names.
I didn't, I
Maple
thought a
Street.
date.
I know.
and I know Kathy does, and I know I do. I talk to, like my hairdresser, they don't go to the bath anymore because it's just not pleasant. It's not like it used to be. It's,
My question still didn't get answered. My grandkids are up here. They're of the age where they can drive. Are they being allowed to use the bathtub or
Right
not?
now, yes, and until we make
Right
a
now,
different
you're asking
decision.
No,
for their
right now,
opinion.
I'm saying, give me your opinion, or
Oh,
your
I
take
gotcha,
on
I
it,
get
is
what
what I'm
you're
looking
saying.
for.
I would say yes, you have, we have,
Yes.
yeah, I would say
Okay.
yes. You have to work out the method. to-
Again, your
to do
decision, but, and let's go to the hybrid model, what I'm saying, you have to have a dump sticker to park there. Your grandkids take your car with a dump sticker and they park there.
But they got their own cars, they're not using mine. You think I'm gonna let my
Well, they
grandkids drive my
better
car?
use your
Forget
car
it.
And that's how we limit the parking at the.
I don't have a
sequence.
tank, so,
I only have one sticker, and I have several cars.
In all fairness, the question you just posed is what we run into continuously is a lot of gray. And so you're not a resident, but you're somebody's guest, and where does it end? And we don't want to violate anybody's rights by any means, but it's a lot of gray. And if I have one guy on it, how much time can he spend down at Lady's bathtub? With all due respect, we have a lot going on in town. We go up to the Lafayette campground and we go to the top of the Kank. There's a lot going on. I don't have that many people. I understand your frustration for sure, but and you can't just throw policing at everything. I mean, I think it's been overused. We're not very popular right now. If you haven't,
No.
Chief Morris,
Well, you're popular with us.
thank you.
there's two things. You're enforcing it in the breach, and we don't have that many breaches going on. What we're seeing is the increase over the past several years, which I tie to, the whole, Airbnb, and people coming from out of town, and people advertising it. There's websites now that advertise it. If those websites say that it's limited to these folks, and again, if there are locals down there and they see the chief or somebody walking down, they're gonna quiet down right away because they know what's up. We can get the word out there that is gonna minimize, again, to Mr. Robinson's point, you're controlling the population that's gonna be there, that hopefully be a more respectful one, but the word will get out there. Just like if we start towing cars out of our lot,
Right.
the word will get out there and people aren't gonna be towing in our private spaces. So we'll take care of this.
Anything that we can answer, please do call. The
Yeah.
fires, the loud music,
Right.
within reason, because it's.
Well, we did have a problem that's solved because of the meeting with Butch and I think it was your deputy. Yes.
And
And it was the towing. It was a misunderstanding. People thought that we were gonna tow them out of my car. I said, what are you talking about? I'm an expert on towing. I'm the landlord guy in New Hampshire and I went to the US Supreme Court on a towing case. I know towing, so yeah, you can tow them. So now we have signs, we will tow them. So that'll get up there. So that'll, one problem solved.
And I probably should have sent a copy of this to you and to Butch. I thought I did, but maybe I didn't, my mind's getting a little soft now.
And
But
they-
we actually did create guidance for our owners, when to call, who to call. We set up contacts for towing. It's only 2 people, and those 2 people check to make sure we're towing, we're doing it correctly. We're not but towing is not gonna be a sport over there, you know. But, I can give you a copy of this, I can send one to Butch, just so you see, and if there's anything incorrect in this, let me know, you know, but from our discussion with Butch, I created that to say when we could call the police, what we call them for, and we described the situations, you know, that you can call for. I can send all of you a copy of that, just so you know
Yeah, send it to
what
Butch and
we've
he'll share
set
it.
up
Send it
as
to me, send it to me.
guidelines for our owners.
Yeah,
Yeah,
email
just
it
send
to
it to me,
Butch and,
and
yeah,
I'll
he'll
get
share, yeah.
Okay, because I think that's helpful for everyone, so, and I apologize if I didn't send it to you, because we should all be on the same page, and
Yeah.
you should tell me if I've gotten anything wrong.
Nate, you recently restriped the non-resident parking area. What are the 16 spots down there, is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
16.
Yep, they're fresh painted this year.
I'll throw out a suggestion here. First of all, I would like to change the signage down there. First of all, get rid of the COVID restrictions that are no longer in place.
Right.
That's a no-brainer.
We'll look at that tomorrow.
To add,
The thing with that is on the COVID signs, it does say no open fires.
No,
So
It does?
that's
Well-
why we left those up for now.
Oh, I didn't see no fires.
There's
on
about
there.
5 bullets down.
5 bullets?
Yes.
It must
Yeah.
be well
That's
hidden.
why that's staying
Okay.
there for now until I get something.
Okay.
okay,
Okay, so it
Can
does say
we-
no fires. I thought I read that, I didn't see it, but I.
Can we
so I
replace that?
apologize. It does say no fires.
right, but I mean, it's one line amongst a much more
Yeah, it's kind of
cluttered.
hidden, and nobody reads COVID signs anymore.
Nobody reads
That's true.
signs.
If we get rid of those two signs
Period.
and put up one sign that said no overnight parking, no fires.
That would add to the signage that is there, yes.
Added to the Town of Lincoln Ladies Bathtub and the no lifeguard.
On, right,
Okay,
so we're looking, right now, there's 4, you've seen this, right? There's 4 vertical signs.
take the 2 bottom ones
The
off.
2
replace
bottom
it.
ones come
Okay.
off and replace it, I assume, with one sign.
Safe when we make it when COVID comes back.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely
keep-
save it
keep
because-
I hate to
just
say that,
Right.
but that'd be smart.
it does look like it's on the rise again.
No overnight parking and no fires.
Alcohol beverages are prohibited.
It's already on there, on the top one. It
No
says
alcohol,
No alcohol,
no
no
bottles of
glass,
glass.
bottles, yeah, no bottles or
Gotcha,
glass.
I was looking at the COVID sign.
Yeah.
Maybe one more, no fire.
Carry in,
down that
carry
flat
out.
area.
No what?
No
In the
fire.
sign, in actual, in the
Oh,
sign,
the second sign, you mean?
In the flat area, you
yeah.
know, where they're set.
Make it out
That's
of
where
metal
they
so it
set
doesn't
up.
end up in a fire, all right? Make it out of metal so it doesn't end up in a
So
fire.
this new sign you want it to just say no overnight parking and no fires.
No open flame,
No
right?
open flames.
Which will take in
I
propane.
would just say no fires / campfires,
No fires /
or no, you need to be specific with
No.
campfires and
Cooking.
like cooking.
That's not.
About no
gonna
I think if you
fires.
say no fires, it's.
I think we got
it's
to
either.
defer to the
Let's
fire chief
defer to
on the
the
fire
chief.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, so,
Just no open flame, and
No
that'll
open
take
flame.
care of gas grills and campfires.
What about hibachis?
Right,
That's open flame.
Open flame.
That's open flame. Yeah,
and see,
no-
that's
no open flame.
where the one that doesn't, not a fire person would say, well, charcoal's not an open flame.
You
It's-
know, it
it's
does, it
charcoal.
flames to get it going. It's
Yeah,
You
but
have to use flame to
see,
flame it to
you
get it
can't.
going.
I don't disagree with you, however, that's where Chad's gonna go, come on, people, seriously. I would put no campfires, no grilling, then there's no question.
Whatever.
Then it's
I-
no
I-
matter. I'm sorry,
So that covers every grill.
right,
Yeah, electric grills too.
electric, absolutely, no grilling, no campfires,
Carry in, carry out.
it's already on there. Carry in, carries out is on the brown sign.
And good size if you can get.
So I'll have it say no overnight parking, no open flame, no campfires, no grilling.
That's good.
Love it,
At the-
yeah, and
like
have
that.
it
This will be
symmetrical
the
with the
additional
other.
sign, and you want, how many of these made up? 2?
At least one to replace that.
One-
COVID.
Right, one to replace the COVID sign is,
If you
Is
can
there-
get it all on that
is there a
side,
second
it'll look
location?
well.
Well, I'm thinking where they do their grilling is down on that flat area.
Flat, yeah.
And do you have
Maybe sink
a
boat.
private property sign that can be put with one that says no campfires, no
They have
grilling, no
one
open
that
flame?
fell Don't you have one, I think you had something on your building.
Yeah, we're gonna put it on the fence that I was just talking about.
Yeah.
So,
Should
And
be on
that's
their
when you're
property.
facing ladies bathtub from the parking lot to the left. Am I in the right place?
Right
Okay.
by the clubhouse.
Okay.
Posted on the one
To-
post,
to go back to Nate's question,
Yeah.
one replacing the COVID sign, another one in the flat area. Now, is there a tree or something there that we can?
Fence?
I plan to post it.
He said there's a
Put
fence.
There's a
You
light
can- you
post
can
there.
find
Oh,
it.
there is
There's a light post
Yeah.
there.
Put it on that.
So
Thank
order
you.
two.
Yeah, these are all on a light post.
Thank you.
As big letters as you can. Maybe you can
I'll
the
get them
sign
the
covered.
same size as
Yeah.
the existing COVID sign
Yeah,
and make the print cover the whole sign.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you, Nate. That's awesome.
Now Cindy, have you put in a towing sign down there?
Oh, yeah, we have a sign in two places that says, you know, if parking is by permit only, and we will tow, and
Does it meet the state ordinance or the state statutes?
yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I saw one, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. if
And
it had
we've
only-
distributed permits to all of, you know,
Hey, Nate.
they have to display a green
Did
permit
you-
on their car,
Parking signs.
or risk being towed.
What do
Fantastic.
we put in the curb?
No
They
parking
just-
signs.
They're just small, no parking signs.
Are they metal or?
No, they're just plastic ones.
So the other sign we were looking for, Bush, that Cindy had done, is just exact
Yeah, it
opposite.
just
We don't
looks like
want to
this.
tow people. We don't want to ruin their day, you know? But without our signs, they don't know that if they park off that circle, they're subject to being towed. So we asked the town to have,
It's
This
right
one,
in the
that's the
head
reason
of
for
that
that.
circle.
Okay, this is what I want to talk about next. Have you seen that?
I did see that, but does that meet the state requirement? I don't think it does.
What requirement?
The
Yes,
fact
it
that They
does.
have to know to whom they have to call to find out if their car's. been
No,
towed.
no, that one just says if you're not parked in one of those places, you're gonna be towed. Our
Yes.
sign, our two signs have, say who's gonna tow you. So if you're parked outside of those 16 spaces, okay?
Right.
Then you're on our property,
No,
and our
I'm aware of
sign
that.
applies, and we tell you
We
who
need
to
to
call.
use the real name though, ladies bathtub, not the ladies bath. It's been ladies
Yeah,
bathtub
you
for
could make
over
the,
100 years.
you can correct that.
Let's keep it
Okay,
at that.
that's,
So used to just saying ladies bath.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, any corrections, just,
So how many of those signs do you want?
Is it gonna go in the middle of this, in that
I
circle,
know.
where the old
Here's-
building
Here's
burned
the
down?
problem, I mean, for those of us that have dealt with signage, you can have sign pollution and nobody's gonna read nothing. They're gonna drive right by it. So we gotta be careful. We wanna cover as much as you can.
That's why I'm
but
asking.
You know it. I mean,
Will that be in the middle of the circle, this one?
well, I don't know.
yeah, that's what we had said, just
In the
put
middle of
it.
the circle?
There's a sign there right now that says no parking, okay? And I think that was on the first
That's what's
page.
there.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
says
we
no
got that.
parking. But that didn't tell you where you didn't want them to park. And Ron doesn't want them parking
that sign in
anywhere
the middle
around
of
that
the circle?
circle, because you can't
Is it
get
in
an
the middle of that?
emergency
Yes.
vehicle in
Okay.
there. So we said, so we came up with this sign that said, if you're not parked in one of those 16 spaces, that's, you have to be in one of those
Maybe we
16
could-
spaces. But if you have
I think
something
there's
better,
standard
feel
language that
free.
says designated parking only. It's abbreviated, but it's standard.
Mhm.
Parking in designated spots only, something like that, that is pretty up to strike. Anything other than that is subject to being towed. I mean, we don't have to spell everything out. I mean,
Do they have pretty
And
standard
that's
wording,
kind of
Nate?
what we said here, if you're not parked in one of those 16 line spaces, we said the line spaces in the circle, then you're gonna be towed,
yeah,
you
you just did a paragraph. I'm trying to get it down to 4 or 5 words.
What is the
Designated
standard
parking
wording,
lot.
Nate, do you know?
Any standard no parking sign would be, in designated spots only, or, here to corner, those types of things are standard no parking signs.
Yeah, it's hard though, because it's
All this
standard parking
information
spaces could
is
also be in,
original to this, so it's
Mhm.
not, this isn't standard.
but yeah, it's hard because standard parking spaces are also in front of their condo units,
right,
which they can't park in, they can only park in the 16 spaces. So that's a hard one.
Swimming parking area only, all others will be towed
Yeah, but what's the swimming area?
out of the 16 spaces.
Well, yeah, but I don't know that. I'm gonna park in front of the condo because that's near the swimming area. It's just, it is difficult.
Unless
It
you're
is.
gonna do.
That's
a
why
pass
that
system.
proposed sign was proposed.
Because it'd be right in your face, right in the front of the circle as you came in. You gotta see it, you know, or you could put it on both sides of the circle, so they see it coming this way. If they went around the circle that way or that way, you could have two signs, one on each side of the circle. Just says that, if you're not in a line space, you're gonna get towed.
I was wondering if we want to put one in the circle and then put one where that fourth sign is coming down. We're taking
Oh,
out two
yeah, you
COVID
could do
signs.
that too.
Then no
yeah.
matter where you park,
Yeah.
like if I park in front of your condo and I get down, I'm gonna walk in front of that sign. I may or may not
Correct.
read it, but at
Yeah.
least
That's
been
excellent.
told.
Yep.
That's what you had proposed.
Mr.
Yeah, in the very
Yeah.
beginning. I said,
Cindy,
put
what I
one,
would
put one on the post too, so as you're walking down there, you know, you say, oh God, I didn't park,
If I'm not in one of those 16
Yeah.
spaces, I'm gonna go back and move my car.
you gotta move your car. Yeah,
What
that's-
what I would
that's
propose is
perfect.
that we have Nate get the signs made up, then meet with you folks, get them posted where you want them. Then there's an issue, it's because you decided where to put them.
It's your fault. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Sorry. That was- Like I said, no filter. Do you have the wording for that, Nate?
We'll see if the president can make.
Do you
it.
have that one that's, can I have that copy that you
I,
made?
I took a picture of it almost.
But you
This
need
one
to
here.
change it to say parking for ladies bathtub,
Tub.
not the ladies bath. Locals know it as ladies bathtub.
Yeah,
It's-
not the, it's just ladies
Bathtub.
bathtub.
You
yeah.
got it.
Thank you.
Parking only.
All right, so if we agree on
Signage.
those new signs, I think that the big issue is who can park there and how we manage that, because if we limit this to residents or residents taxpayers, I think the trash issue and the patrolling issue will go away.
Which
Or
then
nearly
is
go away.
enforcing it.
Well,
For all of the people that have come up for years and gone to ladies and
well, true. But let's talk about that first, just so we know what the other discussions are gonna entail. Who are we patrolling and whose trash do we need to get rid of?
no, it doesn't, because I need to know how we're gonna enforce whatever we decide before I decide what we're gonna. You know, if we say, okay, everybody can come here. I might say that's great if we know how we're gonna enforce that or not enforce it. If we say only Lincoln residents, no one else, how do we enforce that? I can't decide one way or the other until I know how we're gonna
All right.
enforce it.
Then
So what is your thought?
my thought is residents and taxpayers with some sort of sticker
For parking.
for parking.
Anybody can go down there.
It's like-
So Joe Blow from Idaho can walk down from
That's the
Main
same as
Street
the
and
beach.
walk in
That's-
there. I'm sorry, excuse me. So Joe Blow from Idaho can walk down in there and swim all he wants, as long as he's in park there.
I think it's most effective to control the parking, and it's the parking that causes 90% of the problem.
Okay,
If we can get rid of 90% of the problem, that'd be a big jump for you guys. You know, in addition, I think we need to start promoting or advertising or putting on Google searches the old hole. You know, we control one whole side of that river.
Yep.
That's what, 10, 20 times the size of Ladies Bathtub? And then the other side has historically been open to the public,
Mhm.
although we don't have any legal control over it. I mean, as many people are on the other side as are on this
I
side.
agree.
So if that became the public place when people are Googling,
Are we going to do something about access before we start promoting that? I mean, right now we can promote it all we want. We're gonna park them on other people's land, to walk over other people's land to get down there because our access
well, I
isn't
think
there
that's,
yet.
that's a discussion to be had, but I mean, there's your solution.
I don't disagree with you. However, we can't start promoting it until we have access to it.
Well, we can't have access to it until we stop talking about it, so bringing it up.
Is it on the CIP? Do we have money? Do we have an estimate? What do we know? Do we have money this year to do it? Can Nate's crew get in there and get it done, or do we need to hire someone?
Nate's crew can't do it this year.
No,
Can Nate's crew do it next year, or do we need to hire someone? Do we have
I would suggest
any
that they
idea?
maybe stop talking about it in the CIP, but he's gotta get Black Mountain Road done.
Yeah.
That just
Yeah,
goes
I'm-
back.
No, I didn't, this was
Right, right.
theoretical, this wasn't,
He's got enough on his
no,
plate.
this was a theoretical
Okay.
question.
No,
Not
no,
a-
I think you
no,
should
I
start
guess the,
planning.
to me, the priority of it would change depending on what we decide tonight. If we're
Gotcha.
saying ladies bathtub is open to everyone from Oklahoma and anywhere else,
Idaho.
there's less, Idaho, sorry,
You know,
Get it
there's,
right.
there's less pressure on it. If we're gonna make this a Lincoln Woodstock resident taxpayer
Parking,
parking,
because we.
and then in conjunction with that, we say the old hole is open as a
Mhm.
public area that we have rights to legal easements,
Mhm.
then I would move it up in the priority. You know, possibly seeing, we have, what, we're getting $170-ish thousand
I would like you to clarify though, before we keep going.
from the state COVID relief funds.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know what this is gonna cost, but maybe we look into that and we could
Yeah, I
even,
don't know if it would, well, that's not on the
Qualify?
project
Yeah,
list.
that's not.
it's not,
It's
doesn't
gotta
qualify.
be, it's gotta be infrastructure,
Okay.
do with water,
Water,
sewer.
sewer.
and stuff.
Okay, so
The other
Access.
So you
thing is
keep
that-
saying, wait a minute, you've said, I'm sorry, Jack, you've said a couple of times that we can limit it to Lincoln Woodstock residents. You haven't specified the parking to Lincoln Woodstock residents.
parking.
So Joe Blow from Idaho can go down, walk down from wherever and go. Because if that's not the case, it's not enforceable.
Well, I think the key is, what you gotta remember is, every citizen in the United States of America is entitled to get in that river.
It's public water.
Right,
That's
oh,
how
no
they get
question.
there. Once they're in the
Agreed.
river, they can go to the mean water level.
Mhm.
That's what some of the issues that are created, not just for these folks,
Yep.
Right.
around the state, okay, but, so you're right, we know, we have, through huge litigation, we now have a path down to
Old hole.
Old Hole, okay, that hasn't been developed yet. Once we put people in the water, okay, they can go anywhere they want. So I'm not sure, you know, you gotta, so we restrict the parking, I think it'll help. I think you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Towns in Lincoln and Woodstock give out solid waste stickers to every car, every family car who's a resident that can prove it can have a sticker with their car. It's a start, and it's
I would-
easily looked. I mean, anybody can drive by and look at a sticker and say, it's here or it's not here.
But reasonably, if you restrict the parking, okay,
Exactly.
the parking, people that are walking in, because there's no way to restrict people that walk in. I mean, because like the people next door from Lincoln Station have an easement over our land. You know, you're not gonna be asking people who walk in, do you have a, you know, but people that are walking in are not gonna be able to carry all the stuff in their car, the cases of beers, the multiple boom boxes, you know, all the stuff that create a lot of the
Watches and
trash down
fire
there,
ants.
you know? And I think that is a real step towards solving the problem, just solving the parking. Am I wrong?
Solving a problem for the townspeople who can use it.
Right, right.
I have a question.
You had,
You know, the townspeople can now use it, and I think it also keeps down, because you're not gonna have all these multiple cars coming in with all their stuff, you know?
I think there's a big legal issue here. When, and maybe you've researched the documents, as you've said, when the access or easement was turned over to the town, did it preclude anybody, or did it say specifically the only people that could access it were the residents of Lincoln and or Woodstock?
There's,
I mean, it's been adverse possession for what, 20+ years now there?
no, it was permissive use to the Preservation Society.
I'm sorry,
As it's permissive use, to do a prescriptive easement.
okay.
You know, you guys can take it by eminent domain, there's all kinds of different ways the town can get access to whatever, that's what I'm talking about. I don't think you want that fight. I think what you want to do is solve the problem.
right.
But right now, you do not have an easement over West Branch, nobody does. And we're talking about people from Idaho walking, they can't walk over our land. How can they walk over my land? They can't. If I wanted to get to the beach, can I go across somebody's house to get to the beach? No, you need a public access way. So really, it's driving in to park there. I can't keep somebody from driving in, letting people off, and then, you know, going parking somewhere else and riding a bike there. That's not our interest in doing that. As you've said accurately, it's controlling that population. But to you, Mr. Daly, there is no easement. This is a landlocked parcel. And it was done because in 1984, the town said, we will not accept the deed. The plans had already been made. The developer had already conveyed everything around it to us, riverfront, retaining an access only to Riverfront Property Owners Association, which is us and Lincoln Station. So we're the only ones with easements into that property over our property. The only other easement from Lincoln Station goes out of the latest bathtub left towards Lincoln Station. I'm assuming the original development, maybe they were gonna have a road come through there, but they didn't because these developments were never connected together. They were contemplating having common facilities. That's why it was set up this way. But that got blown apart when whatever happened and the town didn't want to take the property. So that's why when it came out to the preservation, it was just 0.72 acres. They had nothing left to give. They've already given the rest of the land to us and no easement to anybody. They didn't think they were gonna have a problem.
I think I'd like to stay out of the legal
Right. yes,
easement thing.
yes.
Let's solve the problem. I mean, if we're gonna restrict this to Lincoln Woodstock residents and taxpayers, let's have the discussion about the pros and cons of that. And then if the lawyers come back and say, no, you can't do that, we'll figure something else out. But I don't want to get into the legal back and forth on this. If it's, if we don't even know what we want, or we as a condo association in a town, what do we want? I mean, what do you think about just the broad idea of restricting this to Lincoln Woodstock residents only, or residents and taxpayers?
What about my grandchildren?
Well, I mean,
Go to music, Jack.
Yeah,
No.
Jack,
I
come
mean,
on.
Drop them off, Jack. and then-
Drop them off.
Right.
Well, I'm playing golf.
I mean, we'll have some sort of sticker system.
Well, Chief Morris, how, what do you think of enforcing
Careful.
this thought? Because it falls on you. The buck stops with you. If we do whatever we do here, it's all gonna fall on you to police
I
it.
think there's probably a lot of discussion there. You've got, if you take and break down each issue, whether it be open container, we have an ordinance, I can enforce that.
Mhm.
Fires, that falls in Ron's purview. I don't know if there's an ordinance that says you get fined if you don't have a permit. I understand the sign says you're not supposed to have fires, but is there any enforcement mechanism to that? I can say, put your fire out, but I can't fine somebody.
So if someone sets up a grill in the parking lot,
and
can that be
put your fire out.
enforced?
Yeah, you gotta, you
Put
can't
it
do
down
that.
here, get it out of there.
So I don't know, Ron, do you know under the permitting for fire permits?
I'll have to look, yeah, through the RSA's and the fire code.
Right, and as far as kicking somebody off public land, even if, you know, if they're not parked in a spot, if they're just, like you said, walked in, do I have a right to kick them off public land?
Yeah.
There's a lot to it. I think there's a lot there that needs to be discussed.
What about this sticker?
When they stand in the water, out in the water.
Now, you're right, that's public. That's
I'm not-
public.
it's not-
Right, now
it's
I'm
not-
in the
Right. What about the parking issue? If it were, you need a sticker to park there, and the stickers are only given out to residents and taxpayers, is that enforceable? Can you tow a car with no sticker on it?
Can I make a suggestion?
Wait a minute, let him answer
Okay, go
first.
ahead. I'm sorry.
I would think, and I could be wrong, but I would think you would need an ordinance.
I don't disagree.
I would think.
So
That's,
Okay,
I'm
we
just-
need to
I'm just
follow.
shooting.
my suggestion is this. I think we've made headway on signs. I think we've moved into adopting ordinances or
Well, we
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 should
need
have
to
to
get
have
legal advice on
public
anything before we
hearings.
can
I
decide this,
mean,
but
it can be done.
questions to
It's
ask.
gonna be Lincoln Woodstock residents, you gotta get buy-in from Lincoln Board of Selectmen. I mean, the Woodstock Board of
No, we
Selectmen. Well, you don't
Because
have
it's
to,
our
but,
property.
but you, in this way this town works, you usually talk to both. Having said all that, but I think we've moved into two. If we can get the signs up for starters, but so far that it's been cold, nobody really wants to swim. It hasn't been a huge problem this year so far. If we can continue through fall.
Hopefully
then,
we'll get warm weather.
And then investigate. It's gonna take a lot of conversations and
Mm.
thoughts and legal inquiries as to what you could have in an ordinance, how it would look. Where's the enforcement mechanism, whether it's fire or police issues. You know, Chad brings up a good point. You get people sitting down with their feet in the water and yep, they're allowed, but public property. So So
Well,
you
I
gotta have
think we
noise,
can
you
ask
gotta
the
have a
question-
noise on, so, yeah.
Well,
you
we have
gotta
to
all this
ask
stuff.
the question about parking. I think that's the first step, because you're right, if we limit it to Lincoln Woodstock residents and taxpayers parking only, how do we make that enforceable so that it's not a nightmare for Chad and his staff?
Because technically you're saying no parking, right?
Parking.
The town's putting up no parking signs on private property.
No, it's town property.
That's down,
Town
That
property.
circle is
That circle is
Town
town
property.
property.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's circus
Okay.
town property.
so we
Which
need
means you're
to
the state
just figure out
law.
how that
We
is.
do have the parking ordinance, no parking, and we can write a ticket for no parking.
Yeah,
It's-
you already
it's-
have
It's
that.
the state statute fine.
The key
Permitted
is-
parking, permitted parking. So if someone has the sticker that you can get as a taxpayer or resident, then you can park there. And if they don't have the sticker, you can have it towed
Or ticketed,
legally
or ticketed.
Yeah,
or ticketed.
ticket is usually the first scenario.
Just like you
Definitely
do,
parking.
just like you do parking violations,
Depending
it
on
becomes
how
that.
much
How much of a pain is this gonna be, in your opinion? Is this gonna be an enforcement nightmare? Is this gonna overburden the already burdened police department? That's my biggest concern.
If we're out and about, absolutely. I mean, the guys patrol and ladies patrol
Sure,
everywhere, and they would, if they saw that as we go down to different places in town, we write tickets. I just wouldn't want that perception to be, we called the cops and they didn't come. Oh, they're tied up in an accident, they're at a med call, they're at, whatever. I just don't want that to be the, gosh, they never come, they never. They would do it as part of their normal patrol duties. They're out and about, that's what they do.
Hey, listen, because I'm a short timer, I'll go back to my parking meter thing. You're always on me about revenue. Meter the street, we'll meter the parking up there and get a revenue source. I get it in one more time before I leave.
The way it's managed in other places and in the cities and whatnot, it's the towing company that wants to make the money and they have permission to police the lot. And if they see car parked without a sticker, they're authorized, because the sign says towing at owner's expense, they're authorized to pull it out. In Manchester, Concord, Nashua,
we've
I
lost that
represent-
fight in court. We won't
Yeah.
take that fight again in court. It ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
so that's what they do. And it's policed because the tow companies bring it up.
That's not gonna happen.
I think we've come to the point here where we've agreed upon the signs, and that possibly Mr. Shaughnessy, as an attorney, should talk with Peter Malia and come up with something that is palatable to both sides.
No, I think that
No?
Butch Burbank, as our town manager, has to talk to town council.
Okay.
I'll start the conversation. I
Yes.
know the conversation's
Yeah.
already started,
Right,
but I'll officially start it, so we can, I think,
that's.
I guess what are we gonna ask Butch to
Yeah.
talk about with the
I wanna
attorney?
know exactly what you wanna know.
I mean,
Well, I think some of the issues that have been brought up, can we say Woodstock, Lincoln residents only, including Jack Daly's grandchildren?
Taxpayers.
Something along that line. Whom has the right to enforce such an ordinance? Is it the police department? Do we have to rewrite another ordinance to stop fires down there? What have, all of these things, that have been discussed tonight, but there's a little uncertainty as to what's gonna fit the mode here to get the issue resolved. or
Because I think
issues.
if we're gonna do this, if you're really gonna move in that direction, then we probably ought to bring into, we have another just developed, access to another major swimming area that we're gonna try to have parking up here on 112 with a trail down. So if you're talking about Lincoln Woodstock resident, are you in fact talking about the same thing up here? Because now, for consistency, so I think this can grow, because we are gonna develop I think there's like 25 or 30 parking spots is what would potentially angle parking in for access down to Olo. Okay, and that's gonna be a narrow path through private property. So if we're gonna go that route,
I
then
would
we
be
should.
totally against that.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. we're gonna be sectioning out. I'm just putting it out.
Yeah,
there.
I would be totally, it's two different situations. This is in the middle of a condo development.
Right.
That's on a
Right.
open levee, where we have a parking easement, an access easement, and a recreation easement, all coordinated together with additional parking on Main Street. I mean, you can,
Yeah.
you know, there's,
Okay.
I
Just put it out there. That's all. Yeah.
I guess then if we're gonna look into the legal aspects of it, my suggestion would be that we have Peter weigh in on a residents of Lincoln and Woodstock and taxpayers of Lincoln be able to get stickers for this.
Something to throw out there. If we get off the stick and get that access and parking to Old Hole and get it on Google, that this is great public river access, do you think that this problem might at least partially solve itself? Without spending a ton of money with an attorney and an hour plus at selectmen's meetings going over and over and over and over and over it. Can't we do that and see, get on the stick, get it in the CIP or put it in the budget or something and get it done and see what happens?
I think that it needs to go hand in hand with a restriction on who can park at Ladies Bathtub. Because if you go online and say, well, this is public and that's public, well, we've always gone to Ladies, we're gonna go back there. But if it says, well, residents and taxpayers can go here, but anyone can go here, and that becomes, I mean, it'll take a while, but I mean, if that becomes the norm, I think that there will be, and again, Old Hole can hold 20 times the number of people that Ladies Bathtub can, easily, on both sides of the river.
Without as many people complain about it.
What's that?
Without as many people to complain about around it.
Well,
You can manage
you'd be
your population a
surprised.
little bit
You'd be
better.
surprised.
You can manage your population better,
Yeah, you can.
better enforced.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's
we're not,
what we
in-
give-
we're not in
We'll get some
agreement
signs
then,
on it, yeah.
we're not in agreement then on taxpayers versus residents versus everybody.
No, I'm not convinced. And it's not because I don't want it to be for just taxpayers, residents, and that I'm, it's more, it's the enforcement end of it. It's gonna be a nightmare, and it's gonna, we're already short police officers, I shouldn't say that out loud. We already have recommended studies that say we should have more officers, and now we're just gonna add something else to it. I mean, the amount of phone calls that, I don't know how many phone calls you get, you said 2 on Saturday alone about problems at Ladies Bathtub. I
But
mean,
would those two go away if those people were
Yeah.
just residents and taxpayers? I think it'd be a less of it, I mean, I don't know if you want to weigh in, but I think it'd be easier to enforce locals down there than general public.
And I don't think it's, I mean, the goal is to try to enforce that it's residents. I mean, they should have a sticker. But, you know, when it's overflow, we have a method of enforcing it. You know, we have parking permits, you know, so if it gets to a situation. So we're kind of partners in this, in the short term, right?
We're partners in it for the long
Yeah,
term.
we're partners in it for
I'm
the
here to
long
solve the
term, you
problem,
know.
too.
We're partners in this together. And I'll be honest, because Brian and I were talking earlier, and the biggest time frame is probably 11 or 12 to 5 o'clock on a Saturday. That's when you're in enforcement mode, right?
Can we leave it at this? Thank you very much for your time. This is a thorough discussion. What I propose is I send a proposal to your attorney. I'm disagreeing with Ms. Ham on the enforceability. I think you have the state laws. I think the stickers, and you don't have to be enforcing it. That's not the issue. I've already told you what the issue is. If they know they have to have a sticker and it's out there on the public domain, you can have less people driven to that hole. You can have less problems. It's going to go away. And if we are able to get on there and say, hey, listen, you're supposed to have a sticker there, you might get towed, that'll be the self-policing of it. We don't want to tow people. So I don't think you need a new ordinance. You have a state law, private property, as long as it's posted, they can get towed. If it's unauthorized, self-policing, no expense. All you have to do is post it. You can do that now. Takes it away.
Can we, is it safe to say, if I can ask, is it safe to say that this is a consensus of, this is a formal consensus of the folks at Riverfront Park, or just two, three of you?
No, the president is on the Zoom.
Well, I mean, I ask it globally is.
has this been brought up at a meeting, a homeowners meeting there?
Not yet.
No, so it's the two of you and the president that are not all of the residents.
We don't need all the residents. We run
No,
the
that wasn't the
association.
question. It was just, it's just the 3 or 4 of you and that's it.
Well, they're
Okay.
board members.
Right,
We're all-
right, I know that.
It's-
I know what
We're
I'm,
not the whole town, but we're the board.
Right.
No, but beyond that, we only have one annual meeting in there in the beginning of June, so we haven't started this discussion till after
oh,
that.
so yeah, right.
All right.
Why don't we try that? One annual meeting?
We do a town meeting.
Oh, that's right.
It would be
I'm-
a start. It would be
I'm
definitely-
good with
We,
that.
we will get going on those sites.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just one quick
Go
question,
ahead.
any with the trash, how do we proceed with trying to control the trash? Is there anything you can do to help, you know, set
Point a
something?
lighted sign to the dumpster there.
I honestly think that if we have townspeople go in there, that problem's gonna go away.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like,
Yeah.
you know, the leaving trash along the beach. I think that's gonna just,
I'd be happy to have ours people go down and pick up. the
Nature
trash. It was a
sign
COVID
says
thing
carry
last
in,
year.
carry
They didn't
out.
want to touch the stuff.
Yeah.
So this year, I mean, I go down and pick up the trash. My president goes down and pick up we do that already, so.
Thank you for
If we
that.
can work out sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming in.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Box spares before.
Thank you.
Trash still. Thank you.
All right. I wanna take 2-minute break.
Agreed.
Is that all right?
You did great.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Somebody's phone's out here.
Oh, I put it out there.
You want me to pause this or take?
Yeah, if you would, just 2-minute break. All right, call the meeting back to order. The next thing is proposal to stock Loon Pond with brook trout. There was a request from David Boyle that we discussed at our last meeting 2 weeks ago. And as part of that discussion, we read a kind of a summary email from Nate regarding your discussion with someone from DES.
No,
Water-
fish and
Fishing
game
game,
biology.
that's what I meant. Who was not really in favor of the decision and almost kind of said, no matter what we decide, they're probably not gonna do it anyway.
Yes, in our conversation, he sees this stocking as too much risk for the money involved in the fish. And his reasons were, one, David Boyle would like this to be stocked and for the rules to change for the pond, for it to be fly only, which would be fly only, single hook artificial, and which would be a trout pond. But the biologist said there is no chance in his lifetime that Fish and Game will change the rules on that pond from anything but general. So it's general now, and it will always be general as long as this guy says he's gonna work for Fish and Game, because they do not change rules.
Mhm.
That being said, general rules means that it's like any pond in the state. You can fish it year round. So that being said, he said to spend money, license holders' money to stock a pond that's gonna be regulated by access by Loon Mountain isn't fair to the fishermen by a license.
Gotcha.
His other big problem was the risk involved, because the pond doesn't have a tributary that feeds it. It's fed by runoff and by some spring activity underneath the pond. What happens is, what we had last year, when evaporation happens, we don't have a lot of rain, the pond recedes. As it recedes, the fish don't have food anymore. Their food is in the shallows around the edge of the pond. The pond's shaped as a cone. It's 70 feet in the center at the deepest point, but it's shallow all around the outside edges. So as that water recedes, he says that the food will be gone for the fish and they'll die from that, just from the natural
Sure.
evaporation that happens up there. He also said that another big concern is the pH of the pond is okay and can sustain life right now, but the issue is ponds need a buffer for when the spring melt happens. where Loon Mountain has a lot of natural snow on it and man-made snow. When all that starts to melt at once and it fills the pond, the pH is higher in that runoff than
Yeah.
what's in the pond now. And without a buffer of just a natural type tributary flowing in and flowing out, he says
Sure.
that no buffer will change the pH abruptly and it will kill all the pangolins. So he said there's just way too much risk that he saw to stock it. But what my biggest concern was when he said that it was going to be general rules, I foresee all of our visitors seeing this posted as a stocked pond going up there, and the possible, lead contamination from, because you can throw anything at these fish under general rules. So you can use, people would drag up their old tackle boxes, they could throw lead. I know it's illegal, but people still do illegal things. I don't want lead in that water because it's a drinking water source. I don't want cross-contamination from other water bodies, from, say, somebody has their felt-bottomed waders, and they just came from a pond that has a possible cyanobacteria problem, and then going up there and potentially bringing that bacteria into that pond, which we've never had, but the state's very concerned with it. Blue-green algae, you see it on the news in other places, and it's very bad contamination. Another thing I thought about would be, something like cryptosporidium or something. They always they've made us test for it in the past. I'd hate to have that introduced, and that, for me, it's more risk than benefit that I saw, but the biologist said that he doesn't plan on stopping it.
So if we voted here tonight to approve this, you don't think it's gonna be stopped anyway? Okay.
I did talk with Mr. Boyle,
Okay,
and, I said we were leaving it based on an opinion after Nate had conferred with the state, which he did, John Beer there. And it sounds like John is not in favor of it. You're not in favor. of it. I'm not in favor of it.
was Mr. Boyle understanding of that? Was he?
Well, we hadn't had Nate's report, but I told him it was going to be discussed at the
Okay.
meeting, and I think you sent a notice, or somebody sent a notice to him
Okay,
in case he wanted to be. So I'll make a motion that we do not support the stocking of Loon Pond by way of the state fishing game.
I'll second.
any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous
Thank you,
vote.
Nate.
Thanks for looking into that.
Thank you.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
job.
So,
And Nate, before you're leaving now,
I was just gonna ask you if there's anything else that you
well, I
want.
just want to, number one, thank you for your work here, but thank you, Butch sent us a nice note from
Yeah.
Dirt Design
Yeah.
on how you went over and above to help them. So it's great to see that, somebody is not concerned about working or getting paid for overtime. They're doing the right thing to help somebody in need. From what I understand, the water line was broken
Yep.
and it would have caused some major headaches, so thank you.
yes,
I
absolutely.
really appreciate all you
I
do.
do that for
Absolutely.
everybody.
Right.
Right, but
And that's why we appreciate you so much. Absolutely. Yeah.
that doesn't mean you're going to get a raise, but that's all right.
They said that you've consistently been very good to work with, not just on that one thing, but that
Right.
you're an asset to the town of Lincoln, and I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate.
So,
West Street.
Yeah.
Is coming along well.
nice.
They're up to the top of the hill. They're averaging around 3 sticks of pipe a day.
Oh, good.
Sometimes it's a little less if they have to put in a service connection. There's service tees that have to go in and
Sure.
they tie, what they're doing is tying the houses in pretty much about to edge of pavement.
Yeah.
They're gonna get to the next, they've already connected to one manhole. They're about to connect to the next manhole, which is up at the top of the hill. It's going pretty slow because they're about 15, on average 15 to 17 feet deep. So it's a lot of digging to get to setting a piece of pipe. And as they go, they do hit water services, and I'm there to help them crimp them off. And
Sure.
they do reconnect as soon as they can, or they had to leapfrog a couple of ditch boxes so that they could leave one going to Mrs. Khan's house. She's elderly. We didn't want to shut her off, so
I don't know.
they're doing a really good job.
Good, good.
They've been good to work with, really helpful. So their plan now is to get to this next manhole, then they're gonna come back and test. So when they test, they're gonna have to dig up everybody's service, cap them temporarily, test all of that in the manholes, and then tie that back in.
Yeah,
So it's a process.
it sure is, yeah.
They're
Now, are they
getting there.
doing are you talking just the sewer at this point, or they're doing water and sewer?
Sewer right now.
That's all they're doing, sewer, okay,
All
that's
they're
what I
doing is
thought.
sewer. But
So,
so you have the sewer, if you're looking up Main Street, West Street from Main Street, the sewer main is here, the water main is over here.
Oh, gotcha.
So every service going this way they're digging through
Gotcha.
them. They're trying not to, but sometimes the service is just, you gotta cut it so they can get through, and then we
patch it back.
we hook people back up as soon as we can.
Sure.
So,
I've been told that they've found a couple services that were to homes that no longer exist on the road, is that correct?
yeah, down by Mike's house.
Yeah,
He had there was a couple of cabins beside his house that we
Yeah.
did find some old stuff going there. There's some interesting things here and there,
I play golf with Mike a couple times a week, so
but yeah,
I listen to it,
yeah,
and he's very knowledgeable about it. And
He is,
And he
so-
appreciates your work, yeah, believe me, he does.
yeah, so that's going well.
Good.
We're, as Jack, we talked about earlier, we're gonna start working up on Lower Black Mountain Road soon.
Good.
I just got that dig saved. We just finished replacing the snowmaking line at the Kank.
Perfect.
Ryan finished today, putting hay out. It's all hayed, seeded. He's got big pieces of culvert pipe that he put around each hydrant so that they're accessible. Even in the winter time, we can climb in
Fantastic.
these pieces to change the hydrants out. It's something that Loon did when they put their new
Sure.
pipes in, so. And then today he built some decking to go over the top of those
Perfect.
to keep everything out of them, so that's getting wrapped up, and I just publicly would like to thank Lincoln Trucking, Loon Mountain, which was huge. They let us use their skidder, and I ran that, pulling the pipe up the hill, so we couldn't have done it without it.
I love it.
So,
That's great.
Yeah, and as well as Calder Construction showed up and charged us very little amount of money to come hammer rock out of that ditch, and everybody worked together. It was awesome.
Everybody loves the
That's
tank. Yeah, that's great.
That's good to hear.
It was huge.
It really is good to
Everybody
hear.
came together, and Rob Lundeen, who welded the pipe, was awesome to work with.
Good guy.
So, yep, he welded a 40-foot stick, and then I got in the skidder and pulled it up the hill, and Ryan did all the excavator work. He's been working really hard over there, so
Fantastic.
really good project, so. And then the other thing we did was before the 4th, we put all the 2 sets of RRFBs
Yeah, I
in,
saw
so
those.
I know.
we're done with those. People I see using them all the time, so
That's good.
it's working out well. So, anything else that you can?
You're familiar with the legal path we have down to Old Hole from the parking area?
Yep.
Is that a job you see being practical for you to do in-house?
I think we could. I just don't think I'll get that done like.
I'm not
right
looking for
now.
this
Oh,
year,
no,
no.
no, no.
I mean, to be honest, there's what, 5 more weeks of like real busy swim weather?
Yeah, I think that can be done next year.
Okay. But you have a machine, I mean, I'm just thinking that was a steep hill. I
I'd
thought,
have to rent an excavator to do it.
you'd have to rent something that the town
A
doesn't.
mini.
Okay,
It'd
all right.
have to be
A
some-
mini and
Some like shoring, I don't know, if rock walls or
just have, you're
something.
gonna have to carve out the bank
Right.
Cut
to
and
bring it
fill.
over to make the, just a mini roadway.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
we-
As wide as a mini excavator.
Would you do that with like boulders to support the hold things back? Or
It depends on what material I'm pulling out of
We
there.
probably have to get right over involved.
I might be able to, depends on how stable the material is, you might be able to stabilize it with just loam and seeded or.
Really?
Gotcha.
Yeah, it
Okay.
depends.
All right,
Thank you for the work and all of that stuff too.
Oh,
yeah,
You know,
we got
Yeah,
your
the
your
list.
list
size of
of
living, thank you.
projects. I know you're busy, and then I know like you have breaks like you did up by my house.
yeah, I still gotta pave that in, but
And again,
that worked out good, actually.
I appreciate that you let people know what's going on.
Yeah,
When you go out and dig up their front lawn, you're talking and making phone calls and
Oh, yeah.
just letting people know.
Yeah,
That's-
I try to.
That's just helpful.
It's huge. Yeah, it is.
That's good.
How is the levy, the mowing, the rechinking, the stuff, how's that going? Is it
We still
becoming?
have to do some rechinking.
Mhm.
We've mowed it twice already this year.
Mhm.
I have an inspection scheduled with Army Corps on Wednesday.
Oh, good.
So, pending everything they come up with my punch list, then I'll go through that this season.
I'm just curious how burdensome was gonna be, because we
It
weren't really
you know, the
sure.
weather's been cooperating. We haven't had a lot,
Gotcha,
we haven't had a lot of storms that have brought the water level above the grout line.
knock on
Right.
wood.
So as long as the water stays right around that grout line, we're really in good shape.
Good,
You know.
okay, awesome.
And in rechecking it, did you pull out, tree saplings that were
We've been
grown?
using some dicoatic herbicide.
Oh, okay, so you're not
Okay.
physically cutting them, you're,
Yeah, we did it
Okay.
twice last year. We've already done one application this year. The more we're doing it, the better
Sure,
Yeah.
it seems to
sure.
be. So
Yep.
I think we're getting ahead of it.
I mean, that's good, because that was the problem before, it's just got out of control.
Yeah,
Those saplings grow everywhere, and then, a year later,
We
You
keep
can't
squirting with
pull
this,
'em out.
this
You
stuff. It's not real high powered stuff, so
Yeah.
you gotta keep hitting it with it.
Yeah.
But
right,
it's safe to use around sewer lagoons and rivers. So
okay,
gotcha.
I'd like to use some more rugged stuff, but I don't think it's
Yeah,
good for
the river, right.
the river and the fish.
right.
Excellent. Thank you
Excellent.
very much.
Anything else for us?
I think that's it.
All right.
Thanks for
And
coming in.
Yep. no
You're
problem.
looking forward to the CIP process coming up
As always.
next month?
That almost
No,
sounded
that'd be good.
sincere. I'm just kidding.
I think we have a good process for that. I mean,
Yeah.
I I know it's a lot of work for you, but it also helps you in planning
Planning
ahead,
everything.
preparing and,
Yeah. Good time.
yep, and it helps the town, it really does, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nate. Take
All right,
care.
have a good night.
Is Nate gonna reseed Maple Street?
Yes, in the fall. We seeded it in the spring.
Perfect.
We didn't have a lot of rain and nobody watered it.
Told not to. Told not to water.
Not in the spring.
Not in the spring. That was, beginning of July, let's try, beginning of July,
Yeah.
end of June, beginning of July. Yeah.
So yes, we're gonna reseed it in the fall.
Okay.
And then I should have big trees again.
Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Nate.
Ron, bring a fire truck down there and water it, please.
Yeah. No, Ron, don't.
Next is the town manager's report.
I don't have a formal one, that's all. Seems so crazy unless you guys have something you want.
Yeah, we gotta go through these. All right, then we have two things. We have a, hold that up. From Castleberry Fairs, good news, we attended the Lincoln School Committee meeting this evening and were granted permission to host the 28th Annual Lincoln Summer Craft Festival on the front field of the high school, August 14th and 15th. The school committee will decide if we can return to host the October event after the August event has ended. Attached, please find a special event permit application for the 28th Annual Summer Craft Festival. Time is of the essence since our August event is 24 days away. Please let me know as soon as possible if this permit application is approved, and I'll have my insurance broker create a new letter providing all the coverage as necessary. So this is similar to other years, except for the location is across the street. For those 2 days with a setup day on the 13th of August, they estimate 750 attendees each day. Parking for the exhibitors and the public will be at the Linwood School, the Great American Ski Shop, and Jean's Playhouse. The public will also park in the municipal parking as available. Great American Ski Shop, is that
Yes.
this one right here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they're gonna just use that for exhibitor parking, all right. They're gonna, portable toilets as usual, temporary dumpsters as usual. Hire a Lincoln Police Detail officer to direct traffic on Route 112.
Several.
Perfect.
It won't be just one.
Do they know that?
I was never asked.
All right, keep
We'll make
going.
that as part, we'll make that as
We will.
part of the
We
approval.
will.
All exhibitor booths will be located on the grass field excluding the infield of the baseball diamond, and I guess that was from the
Yeah,
discussion with
yeah.
the school. They will be hanging a banner on the fence in front of the field at the Linwood High School. We put up directional signs along Route 112 and Connector Road to Route 3 and on Route 3, which they do that every year. They've not yet paid the permit fee, but it looks like they will upon our approval.
Yeah.
And there's contact information, there's a diagram of the setup and a certificate of liability insurance
Which
for
they'll update, yeah.
right, this, but $2 million.
Do you have an idea how many officers? So they can put it right in the permit?
Initially, I say 2. I haven't thought it all out, but just looking.
We can
at-
leave it open-ended. You know, I'll make it a motion that we approve the application pending the application fee being received and Castleberry Fairs having an agreement with Lincoln Police Department for officers.
Do you have any conditions?
I'll second that.
Does that
for the
work
pur-
for you, Chad?
I'll second that for the purpose of discussion, as I want to hear from both police chief and fire chief.
No, well, the COVID restrictions have pretty much gone away, so.
Right.
Other than, I will take a look at their tent setups.
Sure.
Anything
No
to
open fires, hibachis, or anything like that.
Well, a lot of the artisans will have generators, so obviously I'll be looking at that for safety, But other than that,
Do many of them have it? Because she said something about, oh, I guess she said they don't need electricity,
right.
which is
but
why
they
they would
bring
need
the generators.
generators if they needed
And then
it.
they normally have 1 or 2 artisans that do chainsaw carving and stuff, but she's usually pretty good and keeps them.
Put some
kinda-
way, yeah,
But I think it's more, Chad.
traffic.
Traffic.
Traffic control.
Can I come up?
Yes,
So I definitely, I like the venue. I like the fact that they can get a lot of parking in at the school. But you look at the whole picture, if they're parking here in Great American and.
it's just for the
Playhouse,
vendors.
For the vendors.
While
parking.
they're working, it's like
Okay.
for the employees to park.
Right.
That's what that is for.
So I think August will be less busy than October, although it'll be busy
Mhm.
with traffic. You still have a 4-way intersection there. So you have a lot of traffic going into, I call it the mill, but into Price
Sure,
Chopper,
sure.
into the shops. You have that center lane, you have people traveling east and west and people cutting across traffic to go into the school. I see a lot of people parking along the road as well. And I see a lot of people parking in the middle or Price
And
Chopper area
crossing.
and walking across. Now you have 2 RRFBs on either side of that. So when you're trying to get traffic in and out, now you've got lights going off, the traffic can't go anywhere because everybody's jammed up. So several officers would be required, I feel, in that location, but that's something that,
Great. Well, the motion was pending an agreement.
sure,
So she has to work that out with you, and if you're not satisfied, then the permit's no good.
we can make it happen for sure, it just, people have to be patient,
Sure.
I think.
Do you think it's worthwhile, and respect your opinion, to turn the lights off on that
Well,
day?
you can't, we
No.
can't do that.
Okay.
No, that's a state,
That's
that's
why
state
I
Put
road.
them in.
State road,
No, I
state
know we put them
requirement.
in, but I mean, I didn't know if, like he said,
I had
if
that
there's gonna be
same
a
question.
bottleneck. Huh?
I said, I had that same question.
Great
Like,
minds
you
think
can't-
alike.
I know.
Right.
No,
Now
no,
you-
okay,
Now
so,
you turn them off and somebody gets hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Doesn't
But-
make any difference, they don't stop when they're cleaning anyway.
Oh, sure they do. I've never seen anybody go through it.
What?
Nope, I've seen
Yeah, you're
them
on the main
stop all the
street.
time, all the time.
And they only work when people push the button too. Some people
Right.
just-
I have seen that.
a lot of people don't
Someone
push the
did
button.
that to me,
Uh-huh.
because you don't like the one down by Lahoots. You think they're just standing there window shopping. Next thing you know, they're coming out and there's no lights going.
Look at it, it's flashing right now. Guy
Alright.
crossing the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
Guy went right through it, 2 of them went right through it.
No,
There
'cause
goes numbers,
they
Gloria.
already crossed though. The guy was crossed. That's why they went
And
through.
we developed a traffic pattern anyway with
Right,
no, no left-hand turns. So people have to take right-hand turns out of there.
You know what I think is good?
that's perfect.
Right hand turns out of there, what about going in?
We can't help that.
Right,
Can't help it,
right.
okay. I didn't say
No, go
anything.
down and turn around and come
Get out.
out.
Right, right.
Where do they go?
But coming out, going right only is great.
Right only, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think it behooves Castleberry to do it right the first time, or they're not gonna get the chance in October when we know it's even busier.
Agreed.
So
She's-
they've gotta police their own, work with you, work with Ron, work with the town, or you don't get a second chance, folks. Sorry, this is a one shot. Or if it works out right, then you go back to the school board, you didn't chew up their grounds, the
about right-
parking went
Right
great.
turn only coming out of for the festival. Just right turn only coming out of the,
that's what he just said, yeah.
No,
No, but
he's
out
talking
of
about
this
school.
side too.
but right turn only coming
Out
out
of
of
the mill,
Yeah.
the mill.
or I call it the mill.
Yeah, we know what you
Town
mean.
shops.
Yeah,
They'll do.
town shop.
You'll have to look at that.
Yeah, when we were there, we made everybody go right. When we were on this side of the road.
Right,
So when they pulled out of there, everyone had to go right.
I think you still should. Because
you'll have
that'll
to look
cut
at
down the
that, yeah.
crowd. Then they can come up here somewhere and try to figure a way to get to the interstate.
Jack, she, I forget her name now, but Castleberry Fair, she has always been fantastic to work with,
Yeah.
truly. Very, and she'll
Yeah, she'll figure.
do what needs to be done to
Yeah.
make it work, yeah,
Hope
always,
it's
so,
successful.
yeah, me too.
It brings a lot of people in
It
town.
does.
That might be a good idea though, if they pull out at Mill, make them turn right. I would think we would need to sign it for people who don't know the area to go up Maple Street, School
It's your
Street.
bus.
Don't do that.
It's your bus.
School Street used to be a state highway. I mean, that's a wide road.
Church Street,
Church Street.
Church
Thank
thank
you.
you,
Not me.
As
Church
opposed
Street
to
is
Maple, it's
wide.
narrow with, yeah.
right,
Church Street is a
and
wide,
Maple's very narrow, yeah.
that makes sense to go up and
If the chief
Yeah,
has
see
an
how-
officer,
see how
the
the
officer
traffic
there, the
I
officer
don't
can
know.
direct them, simple.
whatever you think works, but
Yeah.
And we have signage and stuff that we can use for that.
Sure.
Barriers and signage. Because it'll be through traffic and then right turning traffic. And then traffic crossing into the school, and it's kind of, it's a four-way sort of a cluster. But if we could keep people turning right, yeah. We
Excellent.
developed something good down there, but the unpredictable stuff is the people, when you're out directing traffic, walking right by you, like, what are you doing? They cross
Right.
wherever they want.
yeah.
It's free for all.
See, revenue source, jaywalking tickets. Sorry.
We don't have a quota.
If we approve this motion, will you, Butch, can you get a hold of her tomorrow so that she
We'll see that
has
she's notified.
time
She
to?
probably,
No, she's not.
No, she's not, but that way she'll have, because time is of the essence, she's got 20-something days, so
you sign.
she'll have to get a hold of
We'll
Chad
see if they
It's
get-
immediately.
actually, the signature of, this is our form for events is town planner or town manager signs it.
So we'll see that she get, I can do it, yeah, I'll sign it.
We,
If you guys vote, I'll do the signing and get it to them.
we have a motion to
Pending
accept
those,
this pending
Yep.
coordination with the police chief for coverage.
Yep.
and her check, and her payment for the,
Payment fees and whatever.
That goes without saying.
Right.
but
Yeah.
we can Put it in there,
but I didn't want to not include it.
all right?
Had already seconded for the purpose of
Okay.
discussion.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. yeah.
Unanimous, give her a call,
Yeah.
have a call Chad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Steve.
Chad. Then the other thing is we have an abatement, 2 abatement requests. I guess I'll read these just for the, you probably both got these by email.
Yeah,
But I'll read them just to read them into the record here. Due to a printing error, the December 2020 tax bill in the amount of $25.43 was undeliverable to Thomas Zukowski and Lisa Gillingham, owners of the property stated above, which is 28 Loonwood Drive, number 1. They're requesting the cost and interest charge be waived as it was an error on the town's behalf. The amount she is requesting to be abated is $48 in fees and $131.87 in interest for a total of $179.87. Because the property had already gone to lien, the abatement will have to be applied as $10 in cost and $169.87 in principal. And this is where they got, I don't know, they got somehow mixed up in the,
It went to New York, it went to an address in New York.
went to the wrong address.
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then this one is for 6 Blue Ox Lane. Due to an electronic file / application error, the December 2020 tax bill in the amount of $4,176 was paid by Core Logic. The property owner had attempted to pay, but it was shown as already being paid. We returned his check to him with a statement showing a zero balance. As they had made an effort to pay on time, I am requesting the cost be waived as it was an error on the town's behalf. The amount I'm requesting to be abated is $48 in fees. Because the property had already gone to lien, the abatement will have to be $10 in cost and $38 in principal. Again, it was
Town error.
town error. It
I'll make a
showed,
motion to approve the abatement.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anything else before I open up public participation?
This that we have in your packet, they're asking to be put on the August 9th.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
thinking that was a legal matter, but you're right, it's from a lawyer, but it's not.
It's not our lawyer.
The,
This is the one that Peter took a look at and said the Board of Selectmen have the right, not the ZBA, to rule on this.
correct.
Can I have the other abatement to sign?
So we're looking at the,
Thank you.
Yeah, we got a
Approval of-
notice, we have a notice on this that we're prepared to put out
and
tomorrow.
right, it looks like you get all of the costs figured out,
Yeah.
is right in the attorney's letter.
Carol did up the notice, to put in
Okay.
paper and stuff.
And he's asking to be put on the August 9th agenda.
Yep.
Any reason?
We are meeting at 5 at the Kank, I believe.
We are.
Other than that, I don't see any reason why we can't.
6 o'clock back here, probably.
If we're at the Kank at 5, we can be back here at 5:30.
Okay.
We're shortly thereafter.
Let him know that we're meeting off-site at 5 o'clock.
Intend to be here around
And
at
right, so if
5:30.
he shows up and no one's here,
He
right,
knows
there's
that
a-
we
there's a
will be
reason
there.
that
I'll have
we,
the Zoom up and going, so if he's zooming in or whatever,
Okay.
let him in, and then you folks
Okay.
return.
Okay. But yeah, I see no reason why we can't put them on there. And for Jane doing the minutes, do we put the attorney on the agenda? Do we put the Landos on the agenda? Or how do we want to put this
all right, let's put it
on
on
the item?
as 196 Black Mountain Road. Request,
By the owners, Lawrence and Doreen.
Right.
Visits.
right, but request for expansion of a non-conforming use.
Okay. 196 Black Mountain Road request,
And I think Attorney Bolton would be the presenter.
I would imagine.
Oh, that was, all right,
That's not something we're gonna discuss in public,
no,
correct?
but I want to discuss that in non-public.
Okay,
as well.
thank you. What about, are you gonna read that? Would you like me to?
Go ahead.
We got an email from Ivan Strickon. First, address this to the BOS, Board of Selectmen. First, let me say that Carol Bond is doing a spectacular job for the town of Lincoln under trying conditions. After reading the planning board minutes of April 14th, I'm appalled at the disrespect that Paul Bowden has showed toward her. This power-hungry individual must be reined in and spoken to by the select board and the town manager. He is unhappy with the efficiency of the town staff. Let us remember the cutbacks he and his group have imposed on this town in the amount of $500,000 over the past few years. He needs to grow up and realize he cannot stop the progress of this community during its growth cycle. As a taxpayer, I am more than satisfied with how this town operates and the hard work that the staff do. Let's show a little respect for them as employees and human beings. Respectfully, Ivan Strickon. I do not wish to comment one way or the other at all on that, but it is correspondence to be read.
All right, I have no comment.
No comment.
All right, Did you have anything else we want to?
No problem, no.
All right, then I'll open up for public.
Well, I saw that assistant town clerk position is advertised, just so it's out there.
Oh,
That our town clerk is looking for an assistant town clerk. You know somebody that would be good at the job.
I need one.
Brooke Rose
Took a position, took another.
took another position, yeah,
she did?
yeah.
It's gonna be
Good for her, it'll be good for her, yeah, absolutely, good for her and her family, very sad for us, because she is a wonderful person. So just wanted that out there for those that read the minutes.
The other thing I have to read in public is that the Board of Selectmen are gonna be attending a training session tomorrow morning here at the town building at 9 o'clock in the morning with Tom Hayes regarding
Short-term rental.
short-term rental identification methods as we proceed. It's not a board meeting. We will not be making any decisions. We will not be having any discussions. It's a training session that we all choose to attend along with Butch and Ron,
Carol,
I don't know.
Lisa,
Carol's not
Lisa,
here.
Lisa. Okay, so it's a staff training and the board is attending that.
Yeah.
So just in, full disclosure, it's not a Board of Selectmen's meeting, but we will be here all together at a training session with some of the town staff. With that, I'll open for public participation. Gloria, did you have something for us?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. And they're minor things. Why in the blue Hades, between Lincoln and North Woodstock, can they not come to an agreement as to who should be filling the holes going down into that dump, whatever you want to call it?
it's being done.
The incinerator.
They agree.
It's being done this year.
Yeah, we're
It's-
repaving it.
Yeah,
Woodstock is gonna contribute its fair share, Gloria.
they are.
That's both towns.
I mean, when's they gonna do it in the middle of winter?
It's
And I did that thing so many times now.
You and I
Yeah.
both.
It's on the Department of Public Works summer job list.
We're doing,
Fall, it's gonna be in the fall.
the goal is to get multiple projects ready, so when we have the paving company come into town,
All of them.
they can do that and Black Mountain Road and
Up by
whatever
your
else,
house,
all at once.
where
Right,
the
the
water
spot,
main
yeah,
was, yeah.
they're gonna do it all at once, so,
And who's in charge of doing the Millfront Marketplace when you're coming out of there?
private
It's
property.
Private owners.
I mean, because that's a disgrace. And
It's private
nobody ever
property.
seems to catch the ones that are coming out, the one that says entrance only.
Private property.
I mean, four times this week, coming down this main street, I've had people pass me on the right-hand side. No cop for out. But if I'd done it, they'd have been caught there. I'm pretty damn sure they would have been. But, and Mr. Beard knows, I would love to know why it take me so long to get a holder for a fireman, a past fireman, and a flag put on that person's line.
I told you that was ordered and it's back ordered.
Back, why would someone, I order stuff
Well,
from the
then-
American Legion Auxiliary and Legion and stuff, and it's never been back
I
ordered.
cannot give you what I don't have. I ordered it along with the flags and I told you, and I know where you live.
Yeah, I know you know where I
Soon as
live.
it comes in, I'll hand deliver it.
Okay,
Seriously.
that's the
Thank
answer,
you,
thank
Chief.
you, Ron.
Yep.
Anything
It's
else?
just- To me, it's just a disgrace. And why, being a tourist town, why do we not have American flags going up and down the street on the poles? Like most small towns do. I mean, they look a lot better than those little dinky banners that you put up.
I think that's a great project for the Legion.
Why would it be a project for the
No, I
for the
think it's
Legion?
good. No, because we've got all servicemen and women at the Legion and, community activities. I mean, we just heard about the different groups participating in the community. And, I think that'd be great. Queen of Hearts some Friday night, take $500 out of the kitty.
Well, I'll bring it up to the commander,
All right. That'd be a great idea.
but I mean, I know every other town does it by the town.
By the town,
By
all
the
of them?
town. By the town, usually, I know it for a given fact in Tilton and in Laconia, the town buys the American flags for the cemeteries.
Are
No, that's for sure. Because I know the
you
Legion
talking about
does,
the little flags that go on the graves?
yes. And those are by the towns, in those towns. Legion buys them. Which is fine. I just need to find out who goes up there and keeps stealing them. Because they are getting, the markers, I put up personal markers up on sites and stuff. And I thought on one particular site, 3 times now, the holder and the flag are missing.
Wow, it's terrible.
And those holders, I don't know how bronze holders cost, but they're close to $90 to hold them.
Wow,
Well, brass ones will grow legs if someone's looking.
sure.
You know, I buy the cast aluminum, not as profitable to steal those.
I just don't, just seems like there's so many little things in the town that just don't look right. Just don't look right. I guess he's gonna replant my grass again comes fall. Then we should have snow. So, be another excuse. Be another excuse. But I wish they would at least come and cleaned off the street and taken the hay and everything that they've put over everything that's all over the sidewalk, which I'm really surprised someone hasn't fallen. And I've taken my broom and gone home and swept it. And I'll put it in your dumpster, in your little grates.
Say that again?
I said, I'll put it in your little water grates at the end of the
catch
street.
basins.
Basin, catch basins.
I would hope that that's a joke.
Well, everything goes down there. Everything goes down there. So,
All right,
I just. I'm ready to move out of Lincoln.
Oh.
It's not our town anymore.
sorry, I'm sorry you're not happy.
It's not our town anymore.
Any other public participation? Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, considering the most recent rains we've had, is the town still into the volunteer water reduction mode, or are they gonna rescind that?
You know what, we
We
haven't discussed that, but,
Yeah, my guess is it probably could go away, but we'll check. I'll check with Nate tomorrow.
All right, I just thought considering all the rain we've had, which is quite a bit, the rivers are up.
I thought of that, and I was gonna ask him and I forgot, while he was here.
So the other thing I have is to, I guess, talk to you, OJ, about, I thought during the planning board meeting, we had talked about having a non-meeting about South Peak with the Board of Selectmen and council. And I didn't hear you bring anything up about that.
We're gonna bring
We-
it
we
back
are-
to that session.
Yeah, you're right. I did not do it this week and I did not intend to. We are buried with South Peak issues. This is just, it isn't the time. We've had a dozen meetings between depositions and everything else. It's just the wrong time, Paul.
I guess so the Board of Selectmen just doesn't want to address it, or what? I mean, the planning board can address it without the Board of Selectmen. It's just, it would be better if I would think if they both deal with the issue, find out where it's, what's going on before it gets any further along. And I know you guys are working on some of the stuff and I understand that, but just putting something off because we're busy and we don't want to address it doesn't make it right either, so.
I understand what you're saying. I have no other comment.
Okay, so, all right. I'll just address it with the planning board then. Thank you.
All right, then I'll make a motion to go to non-public to discuss actually the CRVI South Peak issue
Illegal.
again.
Yep.
And see what our next meeting is on
Personnel.
that.
And a
Oh, and a personnel update.
OJ, I did one other thing I wanted to say to you. I was talking to a homeowner at South Peak today, and he was very insistent that he hoped that the town would proceed and do something about this water tank. He was very concerned about his fire protection or the lack thereof. And the fact that it seems like it's the people who have bought the lots are getting more attention than the people who have purchased lots and are without appropriate fire protection as far as water service. So I just want to let you know that.
And again, we're very aware of that, but thanks for bringing it up. All right, I'll make a motion to go into non-public to discuss the CRBI lawsuit and two personnel issues.
One second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.